So today I'm bringing y'all the next part of my 5 biggest sleepers by position series, where we're going to look at some major potential steals in the 2021 NBA draft. Because the same way an all-star like Jimmy Butler was taken as the 30th pick, all of these players could possibly make GMs question their own intelligence as to why they passed them up. And last time we looked at point guards, so check that out if you want. And I really don't know if I'll end up doing every position, but for now, we got our shooting guards. So yeah, but real quick before I move on, what's up YouTube, Plug Speaks, back with a vid. If you're new, first of all, welcome, go ahead and sub. Also like the vid if you enjoy. I upload 3 to 4 times a week, and we're trying to hit 5K and getting real close to 4K, so I'd for sure appreciate it. But back to the vid though. Now, first up, we got Arizona State's Josh Christopher. And personally, I think he's worthy of the first round. But so many mock drafts have him early second / mid second round. And if that ends up as reality, Josh Christopher will be a huge steal in the draft. Because I'm not here to pretend I'm from the future and declare that he'll become an NBA superstar, but I do want to acknowledge that his potential screams eventual all-star. Now offensively, he's a scoring machine, and if his 3-point shot was even a little bit consistent, he'd be a legitimate 3-level scorer that cannot be stopped. But even without it, he can score with some of the best in his class. From smooth shot creation to super athletic finishing, he just knows how to get buckets. And then he may not be a great playmaker, but the extent of his facilitating skills really remains to be seen. Because it's no secret that the number of assists players average in college is usually pretty low. Stuff like the level of talent around them or just the system of play can really throw things off. So I'd say he's at least an average facilitator. And now his overall numbers for the season aren't anything crazy, but hey, that's what this list is for. Anything otherwise and he's probably a first rounder. But I do believe both his points and rebounding numbers are good looks, and even his efficiency is decent considering his sometimes really tough shot selection. So yeah, his value is obvious, and then you add in the fact that he performed well during the NBA Combine scrimmages, and it all makes sense why he could definitely be a steal. Now, next up we got Aaron Henry out of Michigan State, and he's projected pretty late in the second round, but I really don't see how. There's a dead giveaway of his ability just in his name, Aaron Henry. He's got 2 first names, just like Paul George, Donovan Mitchell, or even Jamal Murray. Y'all, that's some great company to be in. But nah, in all seriousness, many of y'all have probably never even heard of this dude, but he's definitely worthy of some NBA attention. He spent 3 years at Michigan State, coached by the great and well-respected Tom Izzo, a coach that likes and takes pride in defense. And so it's no surprise that Aaron is seen as one of the best perimeter defenders in the entire draft. He averaged 1.3 blocks a game, and again it makes sense considering he's 6'6", with a wingspan just under 6'11" at 6'10.75. It's clear as day that his value in the NBA will come from being a two-way player. And don't think he can't score just because I've yet to speak on his offense. Look at his averages. His three-pointer is weak, but his field goal percentage is a good look, and he can definitely put up some nice points every couple games. He produced multiple 20-point games all throughout the year. Now, I will say he's far from a smooth scorer, but his presence as a two-way player makes him too valuable to ignore. It's really that simple. Now, next up we got BJ Boston or Brandon Boston out of Kentucky. And some may see him as a small forward, but to me he just fit better on this list. I see him as a shooting guard. But yeah, there is so much to say when it comes to BJ Boston, because as a lot of people already know, there was a moment when BJ was seen as a top 10 lock. So it's kind of crazy to see him projected in the second round and on a biggest sleepers list. But before I even get into the basketball stuff, I gotta acknowledge that it's really a blessing that he's even alive. We all probably know about the extremely unfortunate vehicle fatal incident involving his NBA prospect teammate Terrence Clark, and reports claim that BJ was in another vehicle near Terrence, so I'm sure he's just thankful to be living and I'm glad he's here. But back to basketball. Now, I could bring up every possible excuse as to why BJ didn't perform well as a freshman, and it wouldn't matter. The truth is, he just didn't play up to his standards. His numbers were poor, the team lost so many games, and his NBA draft stock is probably being carried by his great potential and his successful high school career. But see, as bad as all that sounds, BJ Boston is about to get a fresh start, and there's definitely a great chance he becomes the player he was supposed to be at Kentucky, which is a prolific scorer that will give absolutely anyone buckets. And judging by his comments from the NBA Combine, there's plenty of reason to believe he could be a major steal in the 2021 NBA Draft, and I'll leave it at that. Now, next up we got Ayo Dosunmu out of Illinois, and it's pretty crazy to me that Ayo is projected low enough to be on this list. I mean, I know numbers aren't everything, but how was someone with these averages and this efficiency expected to land in the second round? I don't care that it's early second round, this man should be projected to barely miss the lottery. 31st round team skipping him just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, Ayo Dosunmu is one of the most complete guards in the draft, and you can see it in his numbers. He grabs a nice amount of rebounds, gets a cool amount of assists, and then his scoring might be his best ability. I believe he's a top 10 scorer in the whole draft. Also, even though he'll be a 21-year-old rookie, the 3 years he spent in college shows in his game, because he barely ever forces the issue and he plays with patience. Plus, can we not pretend as if NBA stars like Damian Lillard didn't spend years in college? Because I know there's plenty of examples where multiple year players are disappointing, but there's also definitely some players that are far from disappointing. Steve Nash, Wesley Matthews, Buddy Hield, or like I just said, Damian Lillard. And I say that because it's obvious that his numbers or his playstyle are not the things holding Ayo back from being a clear first rounder. Shoot, clear lottery pick. But yeah, he's definitely a draft sleeper. But anyway, on to the last player on the list. We got Quinton Grimes of the Houston Cougars, a junior 6'5" shooting guard that's projected very late first round / early second round. And he's another player that's easily a top 10 scorer in the whole draft. And as y'all see his numbers, his efficiency from the field may seem disappointing, but his shooting from 3 is absolutely amazing. The man shot 40% from 3 on 8.3 attempts per game. Pretty ridiculous. And his actual work ethic is obvious because that level of 3-point shooting is a major increase compared to his first couple of years in the NCAA. So I definitely assume that he's a hard worker and that he's going to be improving more and more as years go on. Now, I will admit his abilities outside of scoring are pretty average, but the value of an explosive scorer like he is definitely has a place in the NBA. I mean, 40% from 3 on 8 attempts, that's crazy. Not to mention he went crazy at the NBA Combine. So yeah, whatever team lands him will definitely be pleasantly surprised. Anyway, that pretty much sums up the list, and there's definitely some guys I probably missed, so leave them in the comments, and also let me know how you feel about these prospects, because personally I believe they could all be very good contributors, if not all-stars. I'm serious. But that's it. I appreciate y'all watching. As always, like this up, share, sub if new, all of that. We're getting really close to 4K, and I'm out.